It's one thing to win, but let's do it properly and let the people really have a voice. The people's voice was taken today.
People were getting let in at the proper time. We had a caucus. And the people voted for us slated candidates to represent them.
If you thought small town politics were dull, get ready because this story is more dramatic than a soap opera. Welcome to Dolton, Illinois, a village of just over 20,000 people where Mayor Tiffany Henyard has become the center of controversy, investigation, and public outrage. Known as the super mayor, Tiffany doesn't just run Dolton, she also holds another significant position as the supervisor of Thornton Township. But while she calls herself a leader for the people, others claim she's been putting herself flying first class, staying in luxury hotels, and allegedly dipping into public funds. And now with the FBI investigating her every move, it seems like the walls are closing in. But is she really guilty? Or is this all part of a bigger setup to take her down? Let's break it all down.
It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be as a write-in candidate.
Tiffany Henyard is no stranger to attention. She practically thrives on it. From flashy billboards featuring her face to music videos where she lip syncs and struts alongside police officers, she has a way of making everything about her. But that's just the beginning. As both Dolton's mayor and Thornton Township's supervisor, she earns a combined salary of nearly 300,000 currency units, a year more than the state's governor. That's right, she's raking in a paycheck that's larger than most top officials, all while the average household income in Dolton is a mere $24,000. And let's not forget, this is a town struggling with a budget deficit of over $2 million. The disparity between her lifestyle and the struggles of the people she represents has left many residents furious.
Last month, the judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trustees.
Her dual roles have also sparked outrage. Critics argue that managing one position is hard enough, so how can she juggle two? But Tiffany insists she's up to the task, claiming that her leadership is transforming the community. She's known for handing out small financial aid to residents in need, like covering electric bills or offering refunds on property taxes. But while some see these acts as thoughtful, others argue they're nothing more than publicity stunts to win votes. And then there are the accusations that she's running a personal charity with public money. Imagine using taxpayer funds to play superhero. It might sound noble, but is it legal?
For months, there is a new legal battle brewing in Dolton between the mayor and some village trustees.
As Regina Waldrop explains, it has a lot to do with two meetings held earlier this week.
Things took a darker turn when the FBI began investigating her financial dealings. They're looking into everything: her charity, her political fund, and her personal expenses. Rumors are swirling that Tiffany has been using Township credit cards for first-class flights, lavish dinners, and high-end hotels. And let's not forget the jaw-dropping 43,000 currency units she allegedly spent on Amazon in a single day. The FBI isn't playing around. They've reportedly conducted electronic surveillance and interviewed former employees and business owners who say Tiffany has been acting dishonestly. But Tiffany insists she's innocent, claiming the whole thing is a setup.
Village board meetings, one held at Village Hall, one held at a park district, and now there's a lawsuit, and I talked to the attorneys for both sides.
Her defense: she says her life is in danger, which justifies her need for a security detail. But here's the kicker: her personal security costs are reportedly draining the town's already fragile budget. Dolton has 45 police officers, and multiple officers are assigned to protect Tiffany at all times. Critics argue that this takes resources away from public safety, leaving the town vulnerable. But Tiffany isn't backing down. She says her security is part of her union contract, and that a judge even ruled in her favor. Still, residents can't help but wonder what kind of threats could a small town mayor possibly face that require constant police protection. Tensions surrounding Tiffany's security detail only grew after reports surfaced that some of the officers assigned to her were raking in overtime pay that far exceeded their base salaries. One officer, whose annual salary was just over 87,000 currency units, reportedly earned $114,000 in overtime pay alone. Another officer's overtime pay topped 100,000 currency units, nearly doubling their regular earnings. Residents have questioned whether this level of spending is justified, especially for a town struggling with financial deficits. Critics argue that while Tiffany claims her safety is at risk, the real threat might be to Dolton's budget.
Tiffany Henyard making a late appearance at the Dolton Village Board meeting this evening. That meeting was being held at the Park District building since Village Hall cannot legally accommodate the crowds at a typical meeting.
Adding to the controversy, Tiffany's opponents on the village board have accused her of using her security detail for personal errands. Former police chief Robert Collins, who was fired during Tiffany's tenure, alleged that officers were being sent to pick up food, chauffeur her to personal events, and even run miscellaneous errands unrelated to official duties. "We need officers patrolling the streets, not acting as a private concierge service," Collins said in a public statement. The claims have further fueled outrage among residents who feel their safety is being compromised to accommodate Tiffany's lifestyle.
Next thing is my vetoes. So I got several vetoes here that the board has.
Meanwhile, Tiffany has brushed off these accusations, labeling them as politically motivated attacks. Speaking at a recent public meeting, she said, "These lies are just distractions created by people who don't want to see me succeed." She went on to claim that the criticism is rooted in jealousy, asserting that her opponents are threatened by her leadership and popularity. "They're not mad about the security I make them uncomfortable because I'm doing what they couldn't," she added. While her supporters cheered her defiance, others in the crowd turned their backs, a striking visual of the division she's created in Dolton. The drama reached a boiling point when Tiffany lost her spot on the Democratic ballot for Thornton Township supervisor. For the first time in decades, the township used a caucus instead of a primary election to nominate candidates. State Senator Napoleon Harris, who also serves as the township's Democratic committee, led the process and ultimately secured the nomination for himself. Tiffany didn't even make it onto the ballot because her slate of candidates was incomplete. She didn't have a certified assessor. Furious, Tiffany stormed out of the caucus, calling it illegal and vowing to sue everyone involved.
I want to thank my two trustees, Trustee Andrew Holmes and Trustee Stan Brown, for showing up.
But that's not all. Tiffany claims the caucus was rigged against her, accusing Harris of voter suppression. She says hundreds of her supporters were left standing outside in freezing temperatures, unable to get into the venue. Videos from the event show chaotic scenes of people shouting and pushing to get in, but many were turned away because the room was already at capacity. Her team alleges that Harris's supporters were let in first, leaving Tiffany's backers out in the cold literally. In her own words, "They can't beat me, so they locked my people out." She's now filed a lawsuit to challenge the caucus results, calling it a violation of voters' rights. But Harris and his team insist the process was fair and legal, dismissing her claims as baseless.
Well, for the first time in many weeks, Dolton trustees and Mayor Tiffany Henyard held a public meeting together, but not at Village Hall.
And while all of this unfolds, Tiffany's mayoral office in Dolton is facing its own chaos. The police department has been without a permanent chief for most of the year, and her latest pick for interim chief was rejected by a judge. Meanwhile, trustees on the village board are openly feuding with her, with some even turning their backs on her during public meetings. One trustee went as far as to say they're counting the days until she's out of office, but Tiffany isn't fazed. In fact, she's doubling down, telling residents, like it or not, "I am your mayor." The controversies don't end there. Tiffany's spending habits have been under fire for years. From flying first class to staying at luxury hotels, she's been accused of living like a celebrity, while Dolton struggles to pay its bills. One resident put it bluntly, "It's amazing she isn't in handcuffs yet." Another commented, "The state of Chicago is a joke. They're doing nothing." Giving her a platform only helps to extend her reign. And they're not wrong, despite all the scandals. Tiffany still has a loyal base of supporters who see her as a champion for the community. They argue that she's brought more attention to Dolton than any mayor before her, even if that attention comes with a side of drama.
Dolton is the only community that in order to get a business license or a liquor license, you need an attorney.
And let's not forget the growing list of lawsuits against her. 3 former employees are suing Tiffany, claiming they were fired for refusing to participate in corrupt practices. Business owners have accused her of retaliation, saying she withheld licenses and permits from those who didn't support her politically or financially. Even the Dolton Park District has accused her of issuing bogus fines and blocking grants for park improvements. The allegations paint a picture of a leader who's more concerned with maintaining power than serving the people.
Stories new at 6. Embattled Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is mounting a re-election bid. Henyard made the announcement in a post on her Facebook page.
As the FBI investigation continues, more questions are being raised about Tiffany's financial dealings. Where is all the money going? She claims to have raised millions for Dolton, but the town's budget tells a different story. The deficit keeps growing, and residents are demanding answers. Is Tiffany using public funds to finance her extravagant lifestyle, or is there more to the story? And what about her claims of being targeted? Could she really be the victim of a political conspiracy, or is this just a convenient excuse? Tiffany's former right-hand man, Keith Freeman, has also become a key figure in this saga. Once her closest ally, Freeman is now cooperating with the FBI, reportedly spilling the tea on her spending habits. If his testimony holds up, it could be the final nail in Tiffany's political coffin. But Freeman isn't without his own baggage. He's facing bankruptcy fraud charges, and some believe he's only turning on Tiffany to save himself. Either way, his involvement adds another layer of intrigue to this already messy story.
Now she's teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested and charged.
Despite all the noise, Tiffany remains defiant. She's still campaigning for re-election as Dolton's mayor, insisting she'll win in a landslide. At a recent rally, she told supporters, "Put some respect on my name because I am loved throughout Thornton Township." But love might not be enough to save her. With the FBI closing in, lawsuits piling up, and public trust at an all-time low, Tiffany's political future is hanging by a thread. So what's next for the self-proclaimed supermayor? Will she beat the odds and clear her name? Or is this the beginning of the end for Tiffany Henyard? And if the allegations are true, what does that say about the state of local politics? One thing's for sure, Dolton hasn't seen the last of this drama. What do you think? Is Tiffany a victim of a political takedown? Or is she just another corrupt official caught in the act? Let us know in the comments below.